Hey, everybody. Welcome back to Hindsight versus Foresight. Um, I want to talk about emotions today. I'm feeling nice. I had me a little adult cocktail and a little cigarettes, and I'm happy and I'm bold and I want to talk. Anyway, I want to talk about emotions. Um, I've had enough of them sometimes, but I just want to touch on the fact that we should not be allergic to our emotions. We are told that our feelings didn't matter most of the time, or like we should snap out of it or whatever they say. But I want to tell you that life is like a roller coaster. It goes up and down and up and down and up and down. Sometimes it goes boop, like a flat line, right? And there's nothing wrong with that. That's what life is about. We all have things that are going on all the time. We're not always happy. We're not always jolly. We are not always depressed. We are not always hopeless. You know, things happen in our life that we cannot control. And that's okay. You know, you can pretty much end anything with that's okay. It will sound good, right? Like, goddamn, you can have explosive, diarrhea, and that's okay. I'm just joking, but you know what I'm talking about. It's okay to feel those feelings. Um, we have more than one feeling, and everybody wants happiness in their life. They want joy. They want to know the meaning of life, but that's not always possible. There are going to be times where the poop hits the fan and you're going to feel like giving up. You're going to feel depressed or anxious or despair, you know? And I'm someone that has has had all of those emotions, and at a rapid pace, like fast. But I've learned not to be afraid of those stages and those emotions and those feelings, you know? Um, there are going to be times that you are going to be sad. There are going to be times where you're going to be anxious because you're afraid to lose something, you know? Or you're going to feel elated and optimistic, you know? And I want you to know that you can embrace all of those feelings and all of those sensations, you know, because they're telling you something. You just need to figure out what it is. There have been times in my life where I was so low that I couldn't even see the way up, you know, and I was afraid of those times. But if you fight those negative emotions, they're going to hang around until you feel them, you know? There's nothing wrong with just sitting and the depression and just sitting in the anxiety and trying to figure out why you're feeling those feelings. You know, there was a time, a lot of times, where I wanted to give up, where I was full of negativity. My mind was taking me to places that I didn't want to go. And I felt alone. And I felt like I had to carry the burden by myself. Sometimes I would share the burden with God. Sometimes I felt ashamed. I felt like He would look at me and say, "Didn't I tell you better?" You know? And there have been times where I would reach out to my most trusted friends and I would tell them how I'm feeling. They may not have known what to do with it at the time, but all I really needed was someone to listen to me, you know? And one such moment was with my friend Ken, my best friend Ken. I gotta adjust, I'm sorry. And I was feeling particularly down, you know. My mind was taking me to places that I didn't want it to go. I was wondering what the meaning of life was, you know. I watched Family Guy, and there was an episode where Peter was talking to Meg, and she had gotten a job. He was like, "Oh, I'm so proud of you," but then he started laying in on her and saying, "Ah, welcome to our world. You got to go to work, go to bed, go to work, go to bed, go to work, go to bed." And I started wondering, what the hell is going on? Because that's what happens, right? You have to work to live. And I started wondering, what's the meaning of life? Why am I here? And the despair just started like sinking in like lead. Okay? And I was holding on to that for a couple of days and I could not handle it anymore. So I called my best friend Ken and I said, "Ken, I just need you to listen." And he said, "Sure." That's why he's my best friend. And I started telling him, really like sloppy crying to him, "I don't want to live no more. I'm so tired of this. What's the meaning of all this? Like, I don't understand why we're just doing this over and over and over again. And my life is hell and all I feel is crap." And he didn't know what to do with it. And I respect him for that. He listened to me. And then after I was done, I felt better. Now, you could think, oh, well, you call your friend Ken and you vomited all over him and you feel better. And now he's full of vomit and you're like, okay, I'm ready for the day, right? No, that's not how it worked. We talked after that more. But I realized that day that it's okay for me to be low sometimes. And it just makes me think about my life, and what it means and how I can make it work for me and for other people so that I can help others, right? And it's easy to give in, but I'm not going to do that ever, okay? So I learned that the longer you fight the emotions, the longer they will hang around. Obviously, if we're feeling good, we want it to hang around, right? But if you're feeling anxious, unsure, if your fight or flight mode is on overdrive, and all of these stress hormones are coursing through your body, and you feel like the end of the world is nigh, it's not true. I learned to just sit and experience the emotions and talk to myself and say, you're feeling this. Now let's talk about it. I've learned to talk to myself about those things. I talk to my friends too, but I talk to myself. Why is it that you're feeling like that? What can we do about it? Well, how can we change this? And it goes away fast. If I'm depressed, I have a plan for that. For me, it's staying in my bed. That's my safe place. And now my safe place includes Luna and Trouble, my dogs, and Troy, my mans. Okay? And When I'm depressed, I tell him, I'm not feeling good. I feel down. And I just need you to hold me. And he says, okay, honey. And he holds me. And then we watch movies or shows or things like that that are positive. We watch animal videos, the pet videos that are funny and stuff like that, like I just watch positive things. And I just lay there hugging him and hugging my dogs, and it goes away fast. But in the past, I would hold on to that. I would just not tell anybody. I would not share it. And I would feel something's wrong with me, and it lasted a lot longer than it was supposed to, And when I'm anxious and I'm thinking crazy things, about what could happen if I lost, one of my children, or if I lost my dog, or if I lost my job, or I lost my home, or whatever the case may be, I would talk to myself and say, hey, you've handled your life pretty well up until this point, and you've lost a lot, and you came back. You will come back again, And then I will tell myself, you are safe, okay? You are safe, and you are a grown adult. And you can handle yourself. The feelings that you are feeling is just your body trying to find threats. And there are no threats right now. And even if there were, you've always come out on top. So I process whatever I'm anxious about, And when I feel bad about myself for not cleaning my house or, being as perfect, I say, then don't invite anybody to your house. Nobody's expecting you to be perfect. They want you to do your best. And that's what I always do, And I cut myself a break. And I sit there as long as I have to feel the emotions. Then eventually I move on. Then something good happens, and then you're happy again. Like a roller coaster. Go down and up, and down and up. And I don't think it's, the same. I mean, I think it's the same for people that are like bipolar or just regular people. Everyone has ups and downs. Not everybody wants to go on the roller coaster, right? But it is what it is. We are all going to go through all of the feelings at different times of our life. And it's okay. It's okay. Just work through it. You can handle it. It doesn't matter what's going on, how bad or how much worse it is for somebody else. It is what it is. And you have everything you need in your spirit to handle it and in your mind to handle it. You have done so far. I'm sure this is not the first time you've dealt with adversity or problems or catastrophic things. I'm sure you've lost people, and you came through it okay. And you will this too. So I just wanted to make this video because at some point my children, my grandchildren, my great-grandchildren are going to see this. And I want them to know that they're going to be okay. That it's okay to accept the roller coasters of life. That's what life is. If it were perfect, we'd be in heaven. But every downturn, Every valley teaches us to be stronger, to be better people if you choose to be. And when you see adversity coming to you, smile. Smile. Because you are going to grow, and you are going to be better than ever. Sometimes God has to break us, because we are stubborn and we want to stay in the same place. But God has to break us in order to make a new mosaic of beauty, And I don't know about you, but I would rather have a mosaic. I never thought I would say that. But a mosaic is beautiful, like stained glass. And it is beautiful. And when the sun shines through it, you see all of these rays of lights in different colors. And you're like, wow, that is amazing, So just think about that. It's okay to go through hard times. You will come out of that a lot stronger. And that's my message today. God bless. Love you.